Hey guys, so for today's podcast, we got to interview Peter Russo. He owns JPR Plumbing with his brother Jimmy Russo. The two of them have both basically become family to me, and his story is, I think, very similar to my story and a lot of other successful people's stories. And you guys should have a listen.
What do you want to know from me?
I want to know it all, everything. No, seriously, when did you get your? We usually start with like, where was your first job?
My first
And
job.
how old were you? Yeah.
I used to deliver the New York Post.
Okay. Well, that doesn't
On
happen
the number
anymore.
streets,
On the
no.
number streets, yeah.
And it was a small route. Mm-hmm. I used to hate going to collect.
To collect, what was the collection
Weekly.
though?
Oh, I don't even remember.
25 cents? 50 cents?
And I used to do it on my bicycle.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was young. I was a kid. Everybody was doing it back then.
Would you say like 12, 13?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's about...
Then
yeah.
I really never had like small jobs except for that. Then I worked at H&L. We used to repair the oil burner pumps and motors.
Okay.
They used to be on Deer Park Avenue.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
So you guys don't know, but Peter's also a West Babylon guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually, it's a small world because we became very close, but you graduated with Frank? So he graduated with my father-in-law.
Yeah.
And it was like
his wife's dad. And
Yeah,
now
like
we hang out.
How many times did it take us hanging out
That
and
was
figuring
so
out?
funny, yeah.
So
with our grandkids.
that's funny. So you're fixing oil pumps, you're doing that stuff at H&L, it was called?
Yeah, it was H&L. Herbie and Leon.
When
They
did
used
that-
to have a place in Hempstead, too.
When did that go out of business? Because I don't remember
They got
that.
bought out by All American or something. It was
Really?
right on Deer Park Avenue.
I
Now
know.
it's gone. I used to go home stinking like number 2 oil.
It's a good
And my
smell.
hands would be black.
Yeah, no gloves then.
We used to buff the motors, the pumps.
Right.
And then you'd slip and it would get infected every time.
So what, you would like rebuild the pumps?
we would rebuild the pumps.
Because that's how it was
The
back
old
then.
J pumps, those
Yeah.
were the slow ones, 1750,
1725.
1725, the 3450s.
Yeah, yeah.
And the hardest ones were those Webster pumps.
I hated those.
They had so many different
Grinding
parts.
pumps. Yeah, I never liked Webster.
But
We always used the Suntech pumps.
the 1725s were so quiet.
Yeah, low
And then
RPM.
they became obsolete.
Yeah.
Every burner motor became a 3450.
Yeah, probably to get the pump pressure up, atomized.
Right.
better. That's when that started happening when I got in the industry. So
Funny story. We had a painting room. It was this little closet.
in that same shop,
Yes, in the back.
right,
And we would paint all the motors because they were rebuilds.
right.
And the pumps. So one morning it had this big exhaust fan, so all the fumes would go out. So
Right.
one morning, I go in there, I turn on the light, which automatically turns the fan on, and I hear, and a
cat
cat's
was in
tail came falling down out of the
It shot the
ceiling.
cat's tail off. That's horrible.
Like, oh
if
my
Bob
God.
heard that, he would be really
I
upset.
can't believe
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Cat was gone.
So you heard a cat.
It was.
And at what time in the morning was that? Was it in the morning or in the afternoon?
7:30.
Oh, so that's something to wake up to.
Yeah, because it was freezing out, so the cat was probably
Right.
feeling the heat coming from the building.
Yeah.
I
Or from
turned
whatever's
the fan
left on
on,
the
that was
motor.
the end
Yeah.
of that poor thing.
Oh my God, it's funny.
Yeah.
So-
Then I was in. I guess I graduated high school at that point.
But you were doing that what, like after school on the
After
weekends?
school, and then I went full time.
After high school.
Yeah.
So you didn't do college?
I went to one class.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was missing something.
Right.
And I went to Old Westbury for a business class. I aced it naturally.
It sounds nothing like
And I
you.
said, you know what? I didn't miss too much.
Yeah, this is too easy.
And then I said, my father, he worked for the same plumbing company, which they were based out of Staten Island, but he would work in Brooklyn
Okay.
and Staten. At that time, he was in Staten Island.
Now the same plumbing company.
Duo Plumbing. Okay. My brother Michael
So that's-
still works for them.
Really? So that's where you started?
Yes.
Okay.
So then I said to my father, this job I had, it was kind of a dead end.
Right.
Herbie was retiring, so I knew they were
Cleaning the motors and rebuilding the motors and stuff. All right.
Right.
So then you segue into what your dad
So
did.
my father says, you could start tomorrow, because he was a big shot foreman.
Right. And this
So-
is union.
This was union.
Was
I was
it-
non-union.
Was
Well,
it city union or out here?
Yeah, it was local one.
Okay.
Yep. Local one is all Manhattan, all the boroughs.
Right.
So we used to travel to Staten Island 10 after 5.
You with
I
your
was
dad.
never an early bird.
Right.
So they would be waiting. My father would be waiting in the street because Jimmy already worked. My brother, older brother.
Right.
He already worked.
Oh, so he was plumbing with your dad
Yeah.
before you. Oh, okay.
So then I joined the crew, and they're waiting for me to hurry up and get out of bed.
I could just imagine Jimmy talking.
We used to have these
he
little
does it
minivans.
now when he's waiting for you. Yeah.
So
So
we
three
used
you
to
guys
get
hop
to
in the
Staten
truck.
Island in 55 minutes because it was 5:30 in the morning.
Right. With less traffic then?
There was hardly
is-
any traffic.
What year now?
1986, 87 maybe.
I was.
Probably still crap.
I was.
It
3.
was.
Yeah.
We used to leave at 2:30 and get home.
And get home. So that was
Yeah.
good. You had good hours there at least. So
One
how long?
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead. How long did you do that for?
I would say till 90, 91.
Okay.
Maybe 4 or 5 years. They put me in the union as a mechanic.
Right.
Because I was good. I'll never forget the boss came on the job, Eugene. And I was young at the time. And he saw me threading gas pipe. He automatically gave me a huge raise.
Really?
I was making 200 a week.
Is that hand threaders then, or you had the?
No,
300s?
the 300.
Oh, you did. Okay, cool.
Just carry it on my shoulder. That's probably why I have back pains.
Yeah.
But
That was a lot stronger than the
that
union.
was in Staten Island. I remember the project because, little side story, one day I see this guy, he was in like a gray Continental, and he had his hand all wrapped in like a towel. And I
Right.
just took notice. Turns out he just killed his girlfriend in one of the condos.
That you guys are doing
And
gas
the
piping?
detectives, they
Oh my
questioned
God.
me. Yeah, it
And
was
so
in the
you-
Staten Island Gazette. It was
So
like-
did you help him find the guy?
I told them the description of the car.
Oh my
I
God!
couldn't believe it.
And
Yeah.
it led to the arrest.
They got him. Yeah.
Thanks to
she was
Peter
cheating
Russo.
on her husband.
Yeah. Oh, really? Well, that's usually stuff in vain, right?
Yeah.
Or what would they call that in vain, or emotion? Emotion. That's not good. Yeah. Either way, don't cheat on your wife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you did that. You
yeah, we
worked
did that.
till 91. You say about.
Then I said to him, I said,
When did the epiphany happen?
well, we used to do these McDonald's for a company
Mm-hmm.
that we actually work for now.
Right.
And they said, get your license. They used to told my father for 40 years, get your license, we'll set you up.
Right.
And then I said, I have to go on my own. I'm single. I'm living at home. So,
Saving your money.
yeah. So, one day, Rich Schaefer, our supervisor,
Now, can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah.
You guys live next door to him, right?
yes, this guy would leave early in the, just when we were leaving, we'd hear
Yeah.
him start up a car. He had we thought he was a cop
Right.
because in those days, he was a county legislator. They would give them a car to
Right.
use.
Right.
He would start the car up 5 o'clock in the morning. My father used to say, he's got to be a cop.
Yeah.
And so one day, knock comes on the door, and Rich, I come out to the door. I answer the door. He's like, is Angelina Diatina here? I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
He said, oh, I'm Rich Schaefer. I'm a county legislator.
Right.
And Angie's a registered Democrat. I said, oh, you're a politician? Can you help me get a license for plumbing in Babylon?
And there you go.
So I took the test and passed and got my license.
Right.
And I left Duo Plumbing, and I was making union wages, which was like
So you
almost
took
60,000 at the time.
at the time
a year.
So you took a huge risk to leave and start
Yup.
your own thing.
I had this one rickety van. I had a phone by my bed, and that was JPR,
JPR.
Plumbing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so funny. Jimmy Peter Russo.
Yep. And then a month later, we had like one job. And a month later, Jimmy left.
And came on board.
And Rich, he knew everybody, builders, and he would introduce us, and we would.
So you networked, you made friends with Rich, you networked, and then
Totally.
it opened up the doors for you to grow your company.
Yep. He gave us a lot of deadbeats. The one builder he hooked us up with, his first check bounced.
Oh, no, that's not good.
But he made good on it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So then my next goal was we got to hire people because I want to eventually put the tools down. That was a big thing.
So let's just, so I keep in track here. So 91, you
Yep.
leave, you go on your own.
I got my license.
You meet Rich, you get your license. How many years of running the business before you said, all right, I really got to get some help here? Would you say?
We would always have a helper,
Right.
but we were always hands-on.
You couldn't leave him. You can't leave the
yeah.
helper on site. Yeah.
We'd work 6 days forever.
Yeah, running.
And we did a lot of new houses.
Right.
And I'm trying to think when we actually
Was it like 2000?
transitioned.
Was it like 9
Probably.
years? Probably about the same thing? That's about the
Yeah,
same
because
time
I
frame
bought a
as me.
house in 2001
Right.
in Lindenhurst.
Okay.
And I had an office in the house.
Okay.
And we had a couple of vans. I have an old picture, actually. And Rich actually moved in and lived at the house
Really?
upstairs. He had a bedroom.
Yeah.
Because we became really good friends.
Yeah.
We still are till this day.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
We'll call him after and tell him we mentioned him on the podcast.
Yeah. Right. You like that. And then
So you said, so 2000, 2001,
2001, yeah.
you took the, because, you know,
Then
mechanics are
I moved
expensive.
the office from the little blue room to the basement. We were really
Yeah.
upgraded
Big
there.
move.
We hired a few people. We had some good jobs going.
Right.
And it got to the point where, you know what? I don't have to be out there
You can now
every
grow
day.
your business
Yeah.
instead of work your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what every, I would
Jimmy
say-
likes to always be out there.
Yeah. But he's not with the tools. He's
No.
running the guys.
Yeah.
But every single, I would say, successful person that I speak to says
Mm-hmm.
the same thing. Like, you could work your business and you could make a good living, but it's not until you put the tools down and run your
100%.
business and when you realize, hey, you know, this is what I can do.
Absolutely.
You have to trust the help that you have, which is really hard to do when you're doing it yourself for 9, 10 years.
Yeah,
wouldn't
exactly.
you say?
Because you always feel like, oh, I could do so much better.
I could do it faster. I could
Faster,
do this. I
better.
could not make a mistake, but that's
You
a
know
little
what?
ego too.
You
yeah.
gotta live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, so you take the good with the bad, and
Right. Right.
so you know. And that we built up pretty good. We had a bunch of guys, 9, 10 guys, and they would all meet in front of the house in the morning. And
What would you say as far as help as compared to then to now? Without insulting anybody, obviously, but as far as, was it easier to get help then?
Absolutely.
Were the guys more prideful of their job and their employment?
I think it was way easier to get help.
Yeah.
Because, you know what? A lot of the kids now, they don't want to work.
Right.
They don't want to do the
Yeah.
hands-on.
Right.
But it always had good. My grandmother used to say, Peter, become a plumber. You won't ever starve.
You won't
she
ever
was
starve.
right.
No,
Made a
it's
great
right.
living.
Yeah.
And you know what? We make a great living for the people that work for us too.
Yeah. I don't think most people realize that, because you're not just making money for, you know, yourself and your
Yeah.
family, but you're in charge of how many families. Now, how many guys work for you now?
Right now we have probably close to 30.
30 guys. Running.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot to manage.
We have a joint venture with another company, so
Ryan, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that has more than JPR now,
Yeah.
but which is fine.
So now, after you hired the guys, you put the tools down. How long before you decided to join the union? Because now you're union out here.
Right.
Right.
What happened was we started to dabble in schoolwork.
Okay.
In the summers, when the schools were closed, you'd have all this, the government would fund to redo all the bathrooms, and we would
Right.
bid on it. We bid on a few town jobs.
Right.
And one day, knock comes on the door. It was the organizer from the local. And he's like, hey, because when you do a public job and you're not in the union, your helper has to make the same wage as a mechanic.
Right.
It's just structured that way
Right.
because it basically promotes.
So when you're in your union, it
You're allowed to have an
changes it.
apprentice wage.
Okay.
So we were like, hey, maybe this is a good thing.
Right.
So we joined the union.
What year was that?
Man, I gotta say, it has to be, what's 2023? Maybe 2009.
2009. You've been in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
9 or 11. I have to look that up.
Now the union's nice because you have the
You have-
labor hall, right? Is it the hall? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, whole, you have they always have guys.
So you could
not
scale
always
up
good.
or scale down.
Yep.
You try to keep you good, right?
You try to keep the good guys because, it ebbs and flows, the work. And sometimes you regret because
Fees and everything.
costs a lot. The benefits are huge
Right.
that you have to pay to the local.
Right.
And the sad part is, you know what? The men, they'll never see all of what
Behind
we
the
pay
scene.
to the union.
Well, you have to let them know. Like my guys know
Yeah,
what the fees we pay for their. When they pick a plan, I'm already into it for
right,
X.
right.
And they don't realize that.
They
until
don't
I tell
realize
them.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they become just telling them they become appreciative. Wow, you put that much in before you even pick. Yeah.
Believe it or not, the benefits are more than the helpers' wages.
I believe that.
Yeah,
Yeah. This is the world we live in now.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But
Everything's
you
bought
always
up.
have like a well to get men. And if they're no good, you send them back.
And that's it.
Yep.
And I guess then they kind of get.
And you're allowed, if you took someone off the street, say, or your nephew or someone wants a job, you can get them into the union.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
And then they go to school? They go to night school?
Well,
how does the union work?
We'll
get into this whole other thing that we were discussing.
Yeah, there's two different rates. There's the A, which is basically public work, and that's the higher scale. Hospital work, mall work.
Right.
That is the requirement is 5 years of schooling to
work
become
on
a
those jobs.
journeyman. Yeah.
So there's no helpers on those jobs, or you
Yes,
just-
there are.
but they're paid at A rate, or they're
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
The A rate's high
Yeah.
for help for
Yeah.
They call them apprentices. The B scale, they're helpers. It's just
Right.
wordy. But the B, you don't have to go to school. You take a test.
Right. And then you're in.
According to how many years you're doing plumbing, or that you tell them you're doing plumbing, then you take a test, and then you can get upgraded. This first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then mechanic.
And then you become an A.
No, you become a B mechanic.
Oh.
It's
Okay.
totally separate from the A division.
So how does a B
The
get
A
into?
is building trades. The
Okay.
B is metal trades.
Oh.
It's semantics, but the B guys are not allowed on any public work.
Really?
Right.
So if a B guy wanted to trade over to an A, how do they do that? They got to start over again?
No, they can actually. I believe they have to take a test to get into the A division. I'm not sure how that works, honestly.
But the union guides you through all this stuff,
Yeah.
obviously. Oh, so that's beneficial.
You know what? The problem with the A division, you don't always have steady work. The money's great, but
when you have
you're going to find yourself on the bench
I'll
unless you have a home
right.
company that you've been working for forever.
Okay. Right.
And the B guys, there's always work.
Right.
The B division is now becoming larger than the A division.
Okay. Because the A is this.
Yes.
Right? And the B is more consistent?
Right.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do with the B division, because it's getting so big, we're going to develop a school program.
Boom.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
There it is.
And
Segue.
Yep.
Develop a school because
Yup.
to teach them more before they get into the B rate, right?
Well, to give them knowledge, to
Yes.
learn the basics of plumbing.
Yes.
You know, all the aspects.
Right.
And because a lot of these guys, they don't know anything. Just they all get, some of them get stuck doing the same thing all
And no
the
one's
time.
teaching them.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
a
this
shame.
And this is going to equip them.
Yeah. It's
And
funny
I
you
think
say
it's
that.
going to attract
I think so too.
more people.
It's funny you say that because I talk to guys that are retired,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell them what if they work for the union or whatever they did. They say, "Yeah, this is what I did. Did you do anything else? No, this is all I did.
Yeah.
For 30 years. I got really
It's
good
like
at
being
it,
on an
but
assembly
this
line.
is all I did, which I guess works for some companies in
Mm-hmm.
some sense if you're doing these big high rises or condos and whatever else. But for residential work, you need to know a lot of different avenues
Absolutely.
of the trade. So
Yeah.
it's important. But now, with you guys doing at school, it's a perfect segue for our charity to when we get these kids in, if they're interested in plumbing, hey, this is a school you guys can go
Absolutely.
to, learn,
Absolutely.
build up your career, and then we. I mean, how many guys do we know alone in the union that are looking for guys?
100%.
We
All of
can
them.
name a dozen. I mean,
All
a
of
dozen
them.
that are friends
That's
of ours.
true.
Yeah, that just need
Yeah.
help, and we'll guide them. And because I keep saying that these guys, like next Wednesday, West Babylon High School is coming here for a field trip.
Right.
So we're gonna take them here, and then we're gonna take them over to Webb to kind of just show them, around the industry. And if kids are interested, these
Yeah.
kids will want jobs right out of high
Yeah.
school. And
I know.
We'll funnel them.
That's great
Whichever
because
way.
these kids are pushed to go to college. They get a degree, they come out, and they're not making any money.
I know. Yeah.
Plumbing industry is a well-paid,
And becoming more respected
absolutely.
because 20 years ago it really wasn't.
I know.
Same thing with oil burner and gas mechanics. Same thing with us.
Yep.
So, but
Oil
this
burner.
we still get that. Like some lady made a comment to, I forget who she was talking. I think when I was talking to the guy yesterday, I was telling you about. He said that he had a customer that was. She said her doctor doesn't charge her what the plumber charges. It was like $150 or $180 an hour or whatever. But that's what what it
Absolutely.
is. We're not making that, but that's what we have
They
to
used
charge.
to always equate the plumbing. You cleaned the toilet
Yeah,
bowls.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
nothing like that.
Touching, no.
Yeah.
Now what you guys do, right? I mean, you guys
Yeah.
are more new construction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not stoppages or anything.
We're doing a lot of apartments are going up.
Right.
That seems to be the big thing on Long Island.
Why do you think that is? Just we're going to start building up like Queens.
Well, they do have those projects. There's
I know.
commercial on the first floor and apartments above.
Yeah, right over here, Wine Dance.
I think home ownership is going down, and it's getting pushed that way
To rent.
for some reason.
Yeah.
To rent. People
kind
don't
of-
want the responsibility to take care of things. You're renting. You got your job.
Mm-hmm.
You work it. Both people, if you have a two-person household,
Mm-hmm.
they're both working. They don't want to have the other responsibilities of taking care of the grass,
Yeah.
everything else.
So that's the way it's
with
probably
it.
going to go. I feel the same way.
I think that's one part of it.
Yeah. And they say, like years ago, that owning a house was, devised from the banks because the banks want to lend money. And when they lend money, they make interest. So it's a beautiful thing. They're selling you an idea of a house.
Yeah, that's true.
And now you look at it, it's like, we were ingrained at an early age to buy a house.
Oh,
It'll be your
absolutely.
retirement.
That
It'll be
was
your
our
retirement.
goal.
Yeah, and now it looks a lot different because, yeah, you have a monthly payment, but what's the upkeep of a house now?
Yeah. Thanks to plumbing, I had my first house,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, at 26.
Same as me. The reason I get along with Peter so much is our stories are very similar. 26, we both had our own
26.
house. Yep.
You were in Deer Park, right?
North Babylon.
North Babylon.
Yeah.
I was in Lindenhurst.
Yeah, and there you go. And then I moved to Bohemia because of Peter.
Yeah.
Because we would hang out with them all the time, and I drive back to North Babylon, and we were talking about buying a house and moving or whatever, and he's like, "You got to come to Bohemia, you got to come." So we're literally around the corner from each
Yeah.
other. Yeah. So We'll go smoke.
You
smoke
got that
cigars.
nice cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac,
Yeah, very
yeah.
nice.
But you're on, the block you're on is very nice.
Yeah.
You know that, so it's good.
Yeah.
But plumber and a boiler guy, here we are, having nice houses,
Absolutely.
drive nice vehicles,
Comfortable.
have nice companies.
It works.
When did you buy the building on Rutgers? There you go.
Well, first we were
I
renting
skipped that.
in Bayshore. We were renting this little, I guess it was a little smaller than this, but it had a warehouse in the back.
Okay.
And the next goal was to buy a building. And that happened in I guess it was 2011 or 12.
So you just got the opportunity to
Yeah.
get on that.
I found this building in West Babylon because I liked the area.
'Cause you grew up there.
I grew up there.
You know all the good sandwich places.
Yeah. And it was the right price, the right time. It was empty.
Right.
And we renovated it and moved in. And we've been there ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that was key.
Yeah, that was key.
Yeah.
You got to have your own building. And then, you pay yourself rent.
Right.
The company pays rent, pays for the building, basically.
I
That's
always
how that works.
I always ask this question: if you had it to do over again, would you buy the house first or the building first, knowing what you know now?
That's a good question.
Right? Because it's a lot riskier. Like when we bought this building, I already have the house, I have the family, I have all this stuff. The risk was it's tremendous. Like thank God it all worked out. It always does. But
Well-
if you bought a building first and you rented, what is that the better-
Rented, you mean to live?
Yeah, because if you rented to live, you'd have the money in the bank, the money that you use to buy a house. You could use that money to buy the building, and then your building is getting rent paid by your company.
I don't
which
know.
is-
I think I would still have bought the house
Still?
first. Because to me, when you're renting the place where you live, you're just throwing money away. It's not doing anything for you. I mean, a lot of people don't feel that way. They just feel, it's a place where they hang their
I guess
hat,
every
they sleep.
situation would be different.
Yeah.
Right, because if you didn't have a mortgage, then of course it made sense. But if you're paying 5-6%,
I'm sorry I didn't buy the building sooner.
well, but now you,
which goes to your
kinda,
point.
you can't buy it sooner because you're paying down your debt or your mortgage on your house. So it's kind of,
Yeah, but you could always,
slippery slope.
yeah, you can always get another loan, business loan, whatever.
Now,
Mortgage.
did you have a problem getting your mortgage when you were 26 buying a house?
It wasn't really a problem. I had great credit. It was 10% interest, which was
Oh,
a problem.
so it was wow. That's a problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a problem. See, when I was 26 and I bought the house in North Babylon, it took 9 months to close, and I had to put $130,000 down on a
Really?
$370,000 house.
Oh,
And they needed- yeah,
It was 370 the house?
370 the house, and I had to put 130 down.
Oh, wait, what year was that?
That was 2011.
I
The
would-
interest rate was lower then, but I think it was like 4%. But I ended up paying 5.5% because they didn't like that I was single and self-employed.
Right.
Even though my credit was good and I had money in the bank,
They
They hit me on
don't
the
like
interest.
self-employment. They would
Yeah.
rather see a guy getting a paycheck and he's got his paychecks from another company.
because they think it's guaranteed.
What is, yeah.
Yeah, which really it's not. But still.
No, I think self-employment's.
they're working for a guy who's self-employed that employs that. So
I remember
Yeah.
in 2001, and then I think I refinanced it for,
waving his hat. I don't know what he's doing. What a weirdo.
I think the key, if you all have to get a mortgage, don't take a 30.
Don't
Get
take
a
it 30.
20.
Get a 20. Pay it down.
When I
because-
bought my second house,
there's more to
I
go to
took a
principal.
10. The bank was like, I don't even know we offer a 10, a 10-year
You
mortgage.
do now.
And then I paid it off.
Yeah, there you go. All from plumbing.
Yeah.
That's why I try to get kids to really understand.
Plumbing's a great trade.
Yeah,
Everybody always needs a plumber at one point.
yeah. But really, every trade.
Oh, yeah, plumbing, electrician.
I mean, those are like the meat and potatoes of trades. But like,
Yeah.
there's so many trades that people don't even know is available.
Cement.
Yeah, masonry. Yeah.
I was just at the house, I'm looking at his boiler. for you. And he bought a house next to my accountant down in West Islip on the water.
Right.
It's huge.
Right.
I said, so what are you, you know, we were talking about trades. He's like, oh, I'm in cement in the Bronx. Like,
Okay. That could mean a couple things.
I wasn't going to mention shoes or
Cement
anything.
shoes. Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah,
That's one way to get someone kind of afraid of you when you meet him. Yeah. What do you do? I'm
He's
in
a nice
cement.
guy.
It's like when years ago I'm in garbage. No.
yeah.
No. That's no more. But
They're
so
actually
we
bringing,
think. Who knows?
that's going to be a good job because they're bringing 9 houses. So they run the service
the National
down.
Grid?
Yep.
What block?
Wampum.
Oh, I know that block. We're on Davison Lane right now doing a bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you file a permit?
No, it's just an upgrade.
Just changing fixtures?
Normally, you're the one doing the plumbing. On this one, I forgot who Bob used. But you're doing the one in Hale site.
Yeah,
You
that's
just did the
nice.
second dormer for us. These guys are the
Huntington
best.
Bay.
They banging out. Yeah. Billy's the man.
It's beautiful up there.
Yeah. That view is beautiful in that house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So-
and he's an insurance guy, but he's a nice man. So
He is a good guy, yeah.
Yeah, he brought donuts for the guys yesterday.
He blamed me for running over his sprinkler head.
Listen, all the blame goes on me ultimately. So, because he said, try not to let anyone park there. But it's like, you know what it is, Frank?
You can't.
It's a house on the water on a bluff, basically. And
It's got a skinny driveway.
literally, those pillars, it's like, I don't know.
You got to
just 8
squeeze
feet.
through them.
You have like, on my pickup truck, you have about this much room on each side to get through. So now imagine box trucks and whatever else. They got up there somehow.
Yeah.
But it's a one lane, and it's long, so if you park there, if someone has to leave, you got to back everyone. So there's a little spot
So we
right
park
there.
on the grass.
So we may have to replace the sprinkler head. I told him, even the grass, if it's bad, I'll replace it. It is what it is. What am I going to do? You know, so make the customer happy.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
listen, every single customer you have to treat them as if it were you, obviously.
100%.
And then I'm sure they know a lot of people. So if it costs me to put a piece of sod down and fix a sprinkler head and have a happy customer be impressed, or not do it,
They're going to give you a good review.
exactly, and then have them say that
You can't be
Long
petty.
Island Building's a piece of crap.
Right.
It's worth me to put the sod down. And
Penny
that's-
wise, dollar foolish,
Yes,
right?
and that's we talk about that all the time about how guys are that way.
Oh, there's so many. They make
Out of
the
spite,
wrong
just,
decisions.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Unfortunately, in business, as
Yeah.
you could probably say, there's a gray area, and a lot of times
we get a
business
lot
owner
of people
loses.
that come to the board.
Right.
And, you know, the homeowner has a qualm with the installation or whatever, and they're looking for just a refund of some sort, and some
Yeah.
guys are just so against it.
Or come back and just do
It's
it.
just not worth
I know.
not doing it.
And it's always nonsense.
Yeah,
So that's a
exactly.
sticky wicket. So we didn't mention it. So Peter and Jimmy are both, now you're president of the board?
Chairman,
Chairman of the board for Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And in Islip, you're
member.
of the board on the plumbing board.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of these, I guess, complaints from homeowners or whatever else. Now,
A lot of times, if there's no permit on the job,
you're dead in the water.
we can't do anything.
Yeah. Well, we have
you
an
mentioned
idea
that.
on that. Now, Frank, you give me your feedback on this. So now, and this is going to be in other discussions in other towns, and I've talked to other people about it. And homeowners, if they watch this, they can comment. But if you know how the towns have code enforcement to catch guys that are doing work unpermitted, whatever else. If the town just were to just send out, and we'll talk to Schaefer on this, send
postcard.
out a postcard or a registered letter to
Once a
every
year.
homeowner once a year that if you have work done by an unlicensed roofer, carpenter, whatever,
Or unpermitted.
that we can't help you. Right. So, but if you use a licensed guy
who filed a permit, then the town can step in.
has legal ground to help you.
Exactly.
You know, and then the other thing we want to talk about is the town's, allowing everybody to, or vet companies that are good to give them licenses to work in the town. That's a whole nother topic of discussion. So,
Some towns will actually have a list, and they'll give 3 or 4 different
The problem
people.
is some towns don't let anyone on the list because they don't want to let more people for competition, and that's bullshit. So we're going to change that too, but we'll see what happens. You guys don't do that, Town of Avalon.
I don't know if they recommend people.
As far as?
If a homeowner called and said, "Oh, I need a plumber," could you recommend somebody?
Well, I'm sure they would say, "Hey, here's a list." But listen, what I always tell
They
everybody
probably
is,
give the whole list.
yeah, the times are so different now. Like you used to have to go on the Yellow Page. You used to call the town. Now you go on social media, you type in Google, and it's at your fingertips. So the customers doesn't really know. I mean, we run a business. Customer never asks us about license or insurance, even though we pay everything. I would encourage them to ask. but
Homeowners, I know.
They want the cheapest guy
don't
normally.
realize
Not
it's
everybody.
so important.
Yes.
So I'm in the business. So when I built my house, I had insurance certificates from everybody.
Yeah.
I made them sign hold harmlesses.
Yeah.
And your typical homeowner doesn't even ask if they're licensed.
Right.
A guy's coming to rip your roof off. If he falls,
Yeah.
does he have insurance? Or is it going to be on your homeowners?
Yeah.
People need to be more informed.
And you definitely need
Use
to be
licensed,
educated on it.
insured guys. And they should get a certificate of insurance when someone's working in their house.
Well, the next problem is
Naming them additionally insured.
right.
That's another subject.
But the problem is every homeowner that I speak to has a bad taste in their mouth about every township because they feel if they let a town guy in to look at one thing, they're going to look at everything
Right.
and they're going to get summoned, and that's a stigma.
That's legitimate, but
how do you change
most
that
of them
stigma?
don't.
How do you change that stigma?
It's too hard.
Because what happens
Because
is
every town guy wants to
You don't-
find something.
Right.
The inspector, when they come for one thing, they just, oh, what do you got there? You got a pool? What do you
in my opinion,
perfect example.
Go ahead.
We did that basement in, where was that?
which one?
The basement with the bar
Oh, in Syosset.
in Syosset.
Yeah.
Plumbing inspector comes on the job. He walks in the boiler room. Now, we did no work.
No work.
On the boiler.
An old boiler that I'm going to end up replacing.
A boiler is probably 40 years old. He wanted all the pipes
Insulated.
insulated.
They've been there for 100 years. I had to insulate all
So
the
now that
pipes.
costs the homeowner, I don't know.
I didn't charge him.
Now, that's a good guy. But another
Because-
guy
Yep.
would say, ka-ching.
Yeah. No, that was a hit on Ryan Anthony's. The subcontractor
That was
for the
really,
long building.
that was nice of you because
Yeah.
there were a lot of pipes in
well,
there.
that customer, that customer, we did
Was
his
gonna-
air, we did his air conditioning like 2 years ago.
Did you let them know that?
Yes, I let them know that we had to do that, but I'm not going to rub their nose in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I did you a favor, like
No.
that's shitty. That takes all the goodness out of it. So we almost kind of said like, hey, this has to get done. We're gonna insulate it. We know we'll get that boiler job now. So whatever it cost me to.
That was the village of,
It was like Woodbury, right? Woodbury.
no, was it Woodbury? Syosset?
I don't
I
remember.
don't remember.
But we did it all by the book.
Yeah.
We put the egress window in, everything that they specified, permits were filed. But what I'm saying is a lot of times, like when we're changing out boilers, customers will fight us. Do not pull a permit. I won't give you the job if you don't pull a permit. And now where does that put guys like me?
That puts you in a bad position.
Because it's like, am I not going to do the job?
I
now?
have to, yeah.
Yeah. But the town will say I would be penalized for that, right? Because
Absolutely.
I mean, listen,
Because you're the licensed guy and you know better.
I know, but I also have to feed my family.
It's a gray area.
That's where I would love to
a gray
have a
area.
discussion on that gray area and maybe make homeowners less afraid.
Town of Huntington, if you're replacing a boiler, you don't need a permit
Yeah, direct replacement.
as long as it's
Listen, if it's going
the
to
same
gas,
kind.
if you're changing the house from oil to gas, 100% needs a permit. But the people who are upgrading their oil burner, and a lot of times it's because it's leaking.
Right.
So it's a rush, and it's this, and it's that. So it's.
Well, you can file afterward.
Yes,
the town
I-
understands that.
I totally get it. It's just that you get the people fighting with
Yep.
you that,
That's probably
you're
the only thing the town of Huntington
you're gonna
overlooks.
get me in trouble. What's
Yeah.
that?
That's probably
Right.
the only thing they overlook.
What's
they
that?
worry about with the permit.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything else they need. I'm in Huntington, and everything else is permit license. But everyone just drives by. They send the airplane over to take all the aerial photos of the property. Do you have a shed over here?
A pool.
You only have 2 sheds.
I
Why
heard
do
that
you
was
have one?
illegal for them to do.
Yeah.
Because
You don't know
the
anymore.
town of Islip told me that it's illegal.
You can't do
As
that.
he's looking on the computer, oh, he's got a
Google Earth, yeah.
terrible. But I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, the stigma is they don't want the town in their house.
Because they're gonna find stuff.
And you know what? It's the town's fault too because they make it so difficult
To do
to
things.
file a permit. You got to wait 6 months.
Red tape.
Building permit. Yeah. And that's why people are doing things
Yeah.
without a permit.
Town of
That's another
Babylon, I have
story.
to say, not because I grew up
Babylon's
here.
efficient.
Babylon, both the last 2 dormers we did, not an
Babylon's-
issue. Permitting process,
Yeah.
inspections, everything was good.
They
So,
should be pro-industry.
Yeah.
It's like they're against it.
Well, the faster things get done, the better it is for everybody.
100%.
You know, so that's a whole nother podcast because
God.
there's a lot of depth there. But this is what I said. So I talked to a guy yesterday about the licensing and all that stuff, and he said you can't fight City Hall, and my attitude is that why not? Why not? Why can't you make a change? Something that worked 20 years ago isn't going to work now, and they're trying to make things work and just not gonna. So things have to evolve and change.
100%.
So that's just the way it's going to have to be.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's in this day and age very doable
Yeah.
with what's going on with social media, with all these things. Not that you want to use it against anybody, but
But that's
it's a
the
totally
the
different
avenue
world.
of
Yes.
how you can make things happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's good.